Welcome to another week of going round in circles, and we are at Andover Supercross today for, I've forgotten what round it is, of the Wessex League, but we're here just in time to watch the ladies race. They're just about to start. And this morning's race day pancakes made by the Rocket were absolute man versus food. She's trying to kill me off before the race, and it's a very sad day today. The leader's jersey is unfortunately going back. My one day of glory, making my lady happy, and now she's like, you're pathetic, you're not in the leader's jersey. So just had a little look at the course, a little wander around, looks absolutely mega. I'm gonna have to talk about the elephant in the room though. Everyone's been complimenting me on my crash video, but I'm ashamed to say this, it turns out I had nothing to do with it, and it was actually the Rocket that made the crash video. Absolute savage she is. She's like, it's the best race I've ever been to, this. Everyone's falling off. So it wasn't actually me, but I'm absolutely milking the credit. Everyone's like, oh, I love that video. I was like, oh, thanks, that's all right, thanks.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. But gonna jump on the course now, do a little practice lap. There's like sand pits, run ups. It's gonna be an absolute savage. It looks dry and fast as well. So practice lap and a little look at the course. We're just heading past the finish now before we turn back on ourselves and pop ourselves up this curb. There's quite a few little like curbs down, curbs up on this course. It's good, there's sandbags there. We then head round past the fast straight past the 400-meter running track, and you then pop yourself up this steep bank. Now it doesn't look like much, but this was an absolute leg zapper. And you then head on to probably my favourite bit of the course, a couple of like off-camber sweepy corners. You sort of go drop down on yourself, back up, and this is where I was making up time in the race. Real good fun and a good little technical test to get round there before you head down this bank, round the corner and up this steep little kicker, which was pretty spicy as well. And you then drop down to the far end of the course, round, and you're into the first main feature. You pop yourself up, and it is a steep bank. They'd like dug in some stairs here, shoulder the bike though, run up these stairs. Obviously couldn't do that in the practice lap, but it was a run before you're then back onto some like sweeping corners down this off-camber bank. And then I had to leave this little bit of footage on, bit of crash cam footage on a practice lap. Yeah. And then a couple of corners, twisty tight little corners, which were all off camber as well, before we head down this fast little descent. And this little descent's got like a little curb here that you drop off and then pop yourself up the other side. And this corner was super slippy and you were like coming in with a lot of speed. We then head down to the other end, another little feature here, just jump up off the stairs. Then you were into like a little drag section and you drop down this fast little fun descent into a slippery little corner. And then this is where it gets really fun. You're then onto the BMX track. Yes, you heard that right. There's a BMX track in this course. And as you can imagine, during the race, I was like whipping over this and all sorts. But unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of that. So just pop over these little jumps, round the corner, a couple of turns, and then you're into the main event, the sand pit. Now if you want a textbook lesson in how to ride a sand pit, here it is. I come ploughing through, boom boom boom, and we straight over the handlebars like an absolute numpty, and that really knocked my confidence for the race. But then you head down this killer long headwind drag before another little curb, couple of corners, and we're back round to the start finish straight for the lap. Well, that's a fun, interesting course. The Rocket's wondering why I'm covered in sand. It's because I went from Andover to Chelsea Bill in the blink of an eye. I was Chelsea Bill down the beach. Is that sandy beach? Yeah, 1 minute I'm gliding through it like Wout van Aert. Next thing I'm straight over the bars on my arse. Thankfully the Rocket wasn't there for crash cam. She was like, did you get it on camera? But super fast dry course today, not ideal for me, but I am doing a one bike race today. I'm just going to be on the race bike because Dad's away this weekend and the Rocket does not do pits. That is her one rule. I got her to do pits 2 years ago and I don't think she realised I was going to let go of the bike and pass it to her, and she didn't catch it and it whacked into her. So I've got no pit crew today.
It was just very muddy.
It was too muddy for her. delicate little Wellington boots.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just...
She didn't enjoy the experience. So one bike race, and we're praying for no mechanicals and that I can actually get through that sandpit. Here we go then, race time and the main event. And today's field was absolutely stacked. Everyone came to this race. There were some serious hitters, so I knew it was going to be absolutely full gas. But I got to off to an absolute blistering start. Clipped in, absolutely pinned it. But this race was full gas. So I was on the front there, but once people come past me, ding, 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 it was full speed. So you can see the front boys here. They were just giving it absolute beans off the start, round to the stairs. And you can see I'd come through, I think that was 5th. And then Fletcher comes up 6th, Kibosh matey 7th, 8th. And I'd come through after, it was like a lap in 9th position. And it really hadn't split up that much at this point. You can see everyone else coming through the stair section now, and everyone was still pretty closely intact with each other. It was just absolutely full beans from the start, like absolutely bury yourself trying to stay with the boys at the front. We're just giving it beans. So you can see here, Kibosh matey comes through, I think his name's Freddie, Fletcher. Then there was another guy, I'm not sure on some of the names because they don't race this league, and then me, and I think I was sitting in 9th position here. You can see the guys at the front, they were just, I mean, they make it look easy, but they were giving it the beans. And then 5th, and I was really making up time on this far section on the off-cambers, and I think I came through here, I'd made up a place, so I'd came through this section in about 8th now, but you can see just behind me here, that was the guy in 9th. I think that was Josh Jones, and he had gone past me. So the run up here, you can see the guys at the front just make it look easy. Like, I come up here, I'm absolutely hanging out. They're just like nice and easy off the bike, and here we go. So you can see I dropped back into 9th place here. Now I am like a new man here. Look at that, shouldering the bike. I cannot believe it. That's a new man running up there. I've been doing a little bit of practice on the bike shouldering, but then about a lap later, we come down the fast section. I was now sitting in 9th place, and I was through that sandpit. I was having an absolute nightmare. Didn't get through it once. My confidence got knocked in the practice lap. It was an absolute nightmare. And down that straight, I was getting dropped left, right and centre. So you can see the front boys, they were starting to pull away massively now. And I've got to keep this clip in. I think it's here, yeah. Easy, rides the stairs. Bit of skills there. Don't see that from me, that's for sure. So we were in a real solid battle now for 7th, 8th and 9th. We closed the gap just after this. You can see here how hard it is to get through this sand section. You were just absolutely grinding. It was deep, but I couldn't get through. I was up into 8th position here. I couldn't get through as running, and you can see how much of a difference it makes. Like, Josh Jones just literally bolts past me there. Like, he managed to ride the sand, and it is a game changer. So at this point, I was just trying to hang in, because every time through that sand and on the long drag, I was just getting dropped left, right and centre. Just didn't have the power. So you can see here, we'd just done that long drag, and he's putting like 10 seconds into me down there. It was pathetic. But Kibosh Freddy, I think he had a mechanical, so he slipped back and he basically towed me all the way back. Absolute hero. And then about half a lap later, after all of the off-camber sections, which was where I was making up my time, we had pulled the gap back. So now this was the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th position, and it was hotting up, that's for sure. But it was legendary getting that tow back on. But as I was saying, over the far section, I was struggling. So you can see here, the two of them went through on the left. But every time after the sandpit, they were just dropping me. They had too much power, and I just didn't have the power. So I was like working as hard as I could to minimise the gap. But you can see here, I managed to close it slightly each lap. So there's the two of them. They dropped me on the drag section, and I was able to close the gap down every time on the off-camber sections. But there's only so many times you can do that in a race before you're just burning all your matches trying to close the gap every time. but just here you can see them go through, and I think the gap was probably 7-8 seconds, maybe not even that, and I knew that I just needed one last big lap to close the gap, so I put in a big stint down the straight where they were dropping me just to hold the 7 to 8 second gaps. So you can see the two come through now. I'd managed to limit the damage on that back straight and stay within touching distance. They were like a carrot dangling for me. So Freddie in the kibosh kit pulled away. I managed to close the gap on Josh a little bit more on that like off-cambery section, so I could see him, and I knew it was only about 5 seconds now, and we're coming into the bell lap, so you can see 7ths on the back there, 8th, 9th, and I did actually manage to close this gap on this lap, which was good. So we're coming into a sprint finish in a second. You can see first place coming through, a slick little wheelie from 3rd place, and then we were coming into the sprint finish now, giving it absolute beans, and I just didn't have the legs. So we had 7th place come over, 8th, and then a very poor pathetic sprint for 9th place. And that is another race day complete. Super fast, super tough. I came away with 9th place, which obviously doesn't sound like my best result this year, but hands down that was my best performance that I've put in on the bike, in terms of probably the power I was putting down and how I felt on the bike. So I'm super pleased with that. Obviously the standard was super high this week, so getting to race against some of these really good riders was really good before national champs in a couple of weeks. It's Christmas time now though, so we're going to be filling up on food. I've got about 1,000 pancakes left to eat. I can safely say I hated the addition of the sandpit. That needs to be gone next year because I cannot ride through sand for the life of me. But really enjoyed it. Great day out, great race. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.